How's it everyone, Jay here. This Expanse video expedition will examine the United Nations Planetary and Colonial Trade Zone political borders and geographical locations that of Earth, Luna, including that of the solar system's frontier settlements. The Expanse universe transpires over 300 years in the future during the mid-24th century when humanity has colonized the solar system, connecting the interplanetary economic industry through a collection of trade stations and distribution hubs on hundreds of moons, planetoids, and asteroids. Through the latter half of the 21st and 22nd centuries, fusion energy combined with advanced spacefaring technology spearheaded the helium-3 lunar harvesting programs to supply this new industry with tritium isotopes, fueling this unlimited and clean power source, replacing fossil fuels in a matter of decades. This spawned moon settlements and outposts blossoming around this abundant and highly sought-after surface element, requiring centralized regulation for this multinational endeavor from numerous regions and corporate entities. International treaties prohibited nations from claiming land rights on the moon's surface. The United Nations facilitated this role by regulating industry beyond Earth's orbit, making the first free trade territory of Luna for helium-3 extraction. Additionally, shared economic zones were established on Earth through continental boundaries to ensure equal access to fusion energy allocation for every geographical and political sphere of influence across the planet. As frontier settlements expanded to Mars and asteroid belt orbits over the next century, the United Nations became a dual planetary civilization, with Luna and Mars represented by 3 stars of Earth's flag symbol on the UN crest insignia. The interplanetary economic system has become the primary trade industry of the inner planets, cementing the United Nations General Assembly as the overall governing agency for the solar system's territories and colonies. By the year 2350, during the Expanse Season 1, the United Nations of Earth Luna have a combined population of 21.6 billion. The Martian Republic sustains 7 billion and an additional 2 billion settlers of the asteroid belt and outer planets for a sum total solar system population that of 30 billion people. The United Nations comprises 12 zones with territories on Earth, Luna, and the combined outer planetary colonial settlements, stations, and ports operated by UN and Earth Core nationals. Each territorial trade zone is comprised of national provinces that progress from modern-day countries, with sub-district regions of consolidated states. The North American Trade Zone, with a population of 2.1 billion, contains the United States Province, Canadian Zone, Central American Union, and the coastal republics, each responsible for governing internal affairs with local jurisdiction, with the other territories comprised of a similar regional-based structure. In turn, each provincial zone appoints UN representative delegates on the United Nations General Assembly residing in the District of New York, planetary headquarters of the combined territories. These free trade zones have equal representation for interplanetary commerce policies while supporting UN civil programs and security services through corporate and public revenue streams and subsidies for a global nation of interplanetary colonies. The homeworld's 9 geographical trade zones coincide with the continental borders of North and South America, Africa, Europe, the Mid-East, Eurasia, Eastern and Southern Asia, along with the Pacific region ranging in population densities of 1 to 4 billion. The Solar System's colonial territories of Luna and the network of over a dozen trade stations and shipyard ports in the asteroid belt and outer planetary Jovian moons of Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus and Neptune inhabit that of 985 million UN nationals across this system-wide spanning economic trade network. The United Nations Interplanetary General Assembly houses 745 members divided into 4 cabinet levels representing each zone of appointed officials elected by population density ratios per capita for each branch of government. General delegates relegate interplanetary policies, member delegates oversee territorial trade zone allocations, assembly members conduct provincial administration duties, civil member chairs represent population districts, as the UN Security Council manages planetary and colonial defense policies. The Expanse timeframe, advanced technology implemented over 300 years of climate control and weather modification, uplifting once barren zones now capable of large-scale crop and food productions in regions that of Yukon, Canada, Western Russia, Asia, Africa, and Amazonia, along with large-scale oceanic food harvesting in new accessible regions such as the Antarctic Gulf's large-scale fishing industry to meet the increased consumption rates and food demands of the global industries. Additionally, a global network of seawalls and levee barriers protect coastal population zones from increased ocean levels on a massive engineering scale spanning multiple generations of construction projects. In spite of the 24th century's technological post-scarcity society and massive interplanetary trade economy spanning the solar system, jobs and employment remained a limited commodity. Nearly 9 billion people on Earth rely on a universal basic income system in provincial UN-sponsored population centers awaiting a lottery-based job placement and training programs to escape this widespread institutionalized basic income on a generational based system. Even those fortunate and innovative enough to afford prospecting in the outer orbits, leaving Earth in search of economic opportunities and new lives, face the age-long struggle of corporate profiteering. Despite the social democracy's leaps and technological innovations, the haves and have-nots throughout human history still remains. The independent military power of the Martian Congressional Republic in 2350 sustains a population of 7 billion, containing 8 planetary commonwealth zones with sub-district population centers. When Mars was a united colony, it was a collection of UN districts prospected from various Earth territories before Martian independence was ratified and officially recognized by the United Nations in the year 2225. The planetary nation, connected by a network of underground cities and artificial gravity biodomes supplied by planetary quark fusion core reactors, producing gravity fields inside controlled Martian environmental zones and biospheres. The MCR Marshall social structure of a military-based terraforming industrial complex provides employment for every citizen through patriotic service to the Planetary Republic. Martian economic sectors were managed and controlled by the state through regulatory mandates by the Parliamentary Congress, implementing checks and balances over budgetary spending, curtailing corruption caused by corporate-based profit margin industries. This social structure emphasized service to the Martian Republic over individual achievement, creating a standardized quality of living affording every Martian citizen with service-based career fields. Martians considered their Spartan lifestyles to be superior to that of Earth and the Belt and outer planets, never hesitating to make known their superior military and planetary technologies. Izzy, what are you doing, man? In the rimward orbits, nearly 2 billion frontier prospectors settled the asteroid belt and outer planets referred to as belters, and the OPA, consisting of a few hundred tribes and factions based around trade stations and industrial hubs under a loose confederation of outer planetary labor unions and charters that have been largely marginalized through corporate and bureaucratic regulations through interplanetary commerce tariffs and trade taxations over the past century. Utilized as the backbone of the solar system's workforce, they performed hazardous duties as rock hoppers, resource mining, extraction and transport, operating refineries, gas harvesting stations, asteroid excavation, fabrication and manufacturing facilities, while viewed upon by Earth and Mars as disposable labor over generations spent in the cold, dark vacuum at the edge of the solar system. Over time, outer planetary privateer factions resorted to raiding colonial ships from Earth and Mars as viable means of income, supplementing large bounties in lieu of corporate exploitation. This would further the divide between the inner and outer orbits, labeling belters as marauding bands of lawless pirates. Spanning a vast network of over 100 stations, ports, and outposts, less than 10% were owned and operated by outer planetary institutions, as Earth and Mars competed for influence over these critical assets as generational tensions draw closer to interplanetary conflict, leading into the Expanse Season 1 as the catalyst and front lines of the UN-MCR war. Oye, Inyaloda, Dustalodas, und Beltalodas. Rumors are afoot for the Expanse to return, and the best way to show the IP holders we want more seasons is to support content creators and the vid feeds to cast the Terranets and up the traffic. Analytics is the key factor, so let's steer the algorithm towards the Expanse seasons 7, 8, and 9. Tiniwashi is good, rocinante Yansen.